What if I told you ancient Roman courtrooms had more girl power than you'd ever imagine? We often think of history as a story told from a single perspective. But what if we could rewind the clock and see the full picture, filled with untold stories and unsung heroes? When we picture Roman lawyers, we see men in togas arguing before stern-faced judges. The image is iconic, isn't it? The very embodiment of Roman law and power. But, surprise, a handful of bold women stepped into the legal spotlight centuries before women officially became lawyers. These weren't just bystanders or passive observers. They were active participants, challenging the status quo and making their voices heard in a world dominated by men. Meet Gaia Afrania. In the 1st century BCE, she wasn't just defending her own rights, she was representing others too. Imagine the courage it took to stand up in a public forum and argue on behalf of someone else, especially when societal norms dictated that women should remain silent and subservient. While most women were expected to keep quiet in public, Afrania argued cases in open court, challenging both criminals and tradition. She was a force to be reckoned with, a trailblazer who dared to defy expectations and use her voice to advocate for justice. Of course, not everyone was a fan. The Senate eventually banned women from pleading in court, blaming Afrania's audacity. They saw her as a threat to the established order, a disruption to the patriarchal norms that governed Roman society. But her impact lingered. Even in the face of official condemnation, her actions resonated, inspiring other women to find their own ways to influence the legal landscape. For generations, Roman women continued to advise, draft legal documents, and fight for their families' rights, even if they couldn't stand front and center. They operated behind the scenes, wielding their influence through knowledge, negotiation, and sheer determination. And here's the twist. These legal rebels weren't rare exceptions. Women from powerful families could influence court cases, own property, and even sway political decisions behind the scenes. Their wealth and social standing gave them access to power, and they used it to protect their interests and advocate for their loved ones. Their stories remind us history isn't just about who got written down. It's also about who was deliberately left out, whose voices were suppressed, and whose contributions were minimized. It's about the voices who refused to be silenced. So next time you picture ancient Rome, remember, the courtroom drama had more female leads than you thought. These women may not have been officially recognized as lawyers, but they were legal pioneers in their own right, paving the way for future generations of women in law. Hidden history is everywhere. We just have to look for it. And by looking, we can uncover a richer, more nuanced understanding of the past, one that celebrates the contributions of all, not just a select few.